welcome to this week's episode of the Art of Feeling Better podcast. And this one is for you women over 40. Yes, that's right, I'm talking to you. So I wanted to do a specific episode for women over 40. Obviously, there is a specific resonance for me as a woman over 40, so I'm talking to my audience. This whole podcast is about everybody. So in time, I have lots of different audiences that I'm going to be talking to, bringing different guests in to speak to you about things that might resonate with you. But for this episode, I'm talking to me. I'm talking to all the me's out there, all of the women over 40 who are likely to have raised a family, not necessarily, but are likely to have raised a family, and are now in a space where you are thinking, what the hell am I doing now? Did not see any of this coming. Who the hell am I? What is my identity? All I've ever done is run off labels that have been either self-imposed or other people have thrown on me. I have been hustling for many, many years to just keep swimming, in the words of Dory, just to keep heads above water, just to keep protecting my family, my space. I've done so much work trying to build a career that I think is the right thing to do, that society has told me that I should be doing, that my parents, my siblings, my friends have made me feel, intentionally or unintentionally, like it's right for me. I've never actually looked at what I want, what I need, what brings me joy, what lights me up, because that's never been on my radar. That's never been taught to me. And now I'm 40 plus. I'm sat here in this space of my own creation that I have no idea what to do with. And perhaps if you are a mother and you do have children who are now growing up or grown up, they're starting to fly the nest. Rightly so. We are not the owners of our children, are we? We are the guardians temporarily to support them that's what they need to do. We need to get them ready to fly the nest. But then there's all that awful kind of wrangling when they do, and this is from me resonating at the moment, where you're like, well, now my identity is going with you because, that's my only job. That's the only thing that I focused on. And now all of a sudden I'm left with these big gaping holes. And we have that danger then of these detrimental and damaging relationships where we want to keep hold of our kids because they represent us and our identity. And it's really scary to not have that in our lives. So it's really tough, girls. It's really tough to understand how to navigate that process because we're not trained for it. It's not acknowledged. Nobody sees it coming. We just go through the motions when we're younger and we just get caught up in this cycle of labels. And I think for women in particular, it's a big thing. That's not to say that men don't experience this. Of course they do. But I know for women of my age, it's a huge, big thing. And we have, our beautiful hormones thrown in the mix as well, which is like, great, thank you for that. It's awesome. Perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal. Who warned us about this shit? Who told us that this was going to be a thing? Not only are we navigating all the rest of the stuff, but we've got this thrown in the mix where while bodies are absolutely sabotaging us, and that's what it feels like, we're starting to realise that our childbearing years are now gone. And what do we do now about that? And it's just difficult. It's tough. The emotional roller coaster, as well as the physical stuff and the practical stuff. It's something that's it's not spoken about enough and it's not dealt with enough. And I thought it would be a good time for us to get this out into the room and have it as a specific episode to talk about and discuss. And I recently finished creating a programme, so I'm going to put a link at the end specifically for women over 40 because I needed it so much and I wish that had been there for me. So I've done an awful lot of shadow work on my journey, as you know. It's been a part of my progression and my learning. And some of the things that I have learned and done over the last few years have been so profound in changing my life and reframing the way I think about things and the way I think about myself and the way I behave towards myself, that I wanted to put that somewhere for other women. So this programme is a real baby of mine. So I'm going to put the link in at the end. And I made it just for women over 40, very specific and very much around exactly this. What happens next? What do we do? And there's lots of questions raised when I was filming this. I was filming all of the content for this programme. And it was really powerful and profound, even though I already knew this stuff and it was part of my journey anyway. Actually speaking it and actually getting these things down on paper and verbalizing it and recording it, it helped me with another shift. It really made me realize the power of these words and the power of these principles that women need so badly. And I've said this before in other podcast episodes, when I've got a little bit woo. And to be fair, I've had good feedback. I've not had any negative feedback yet. I think people who don't like the woo just ignore it, which is absolutely fine. But thinking about the divine feminine and divine masculine energies, my whole purpose is to try and articulate this into a way that people can understand. But this is what it's all about. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Even the scientists are agreeing with the spiritual community. We need to meet in the middle here. It's all energy. And we have had so much repression and so much going on as women and with our divine feminine. And boys have the divine feminine energy. Just putting out there, this isn't a gender-specific topic, but this is a topic that's specific for women right now. We're coming into our power, or we're in a space where we should be coming into our power. We have to heal the divine masculine and we have to empower the divine feminine. That's in all of us, regardless of how we identify. We have to do this work. And for women and for mothers and for women over 40 who are coming into this space now that I mentioned, I think it's a really powerful time to do that, because we really have this just immense power at our fingertips if we can just harness it. And, it's how we heal the world. We heal ourselves, we heal the world, right? If every individual person looks at their own healing, stops deflecting, stops distracting, stops blaming, and actually takes on that accountability and that locus of control to just do their work, then it kind of raises the vibe and lights everything else up. So part of my purpose is to do that, do my own shit, do my own work, and try and pass on a little bit of that wisdom to whoever wants to listen and to whoever it resonates with. So part of this this piece of work for women over 40, I was talking about the way we've just gone off kilter completely, and we've got things a bit skewed. So I know that there's a danger that some of my words just piss everybody off. So piss everybody off. The feminazis won't like what I'm saying, and a lot of men will take exception to the fact that I am focusing on women, and men's needs are absolutely just as important. So it's always the way with the stuff that I do anyway. But it made me think, gosh, we really need to kind of get past that. We really need to stop this wrangling for, who's most traumatized and who is in most need of certain things, because we all are. We all need it. We all have different things going on, and we all need tools, and we all need to be heard and listened to. It's just how we access those tools and how we feel about ourselves during the process. It's the tricky bit. But thinking about the suffragettes, thinking about our ancestors who fought long and hard and went through some horrific ordeals because they were so passionate about women being able to be treated as equals and having a voice, because they recognise the power that we have. And it's not that we want to overtake and then this whole matriarchy comes into play, because that's just as toxic as the patriarchy. It was about recognising that we need that balance. We need to come up, we need to be recognised, and we all need to have that kind of balance within us. I don't think for 1 minute that Emmeline Pankhurst would have been going on hunger strike and they were all getting trampled by horses so that we could do everything all of the time and then have this vision of we're better than men and we can do everything, so we're then going to look after the kids and hold down a full-time job and be the breadwinner and do everything else, so fuck you. I don't think that was the aim of the game, and I think that they would be really, really horrified at some of the toxic behaviours that are kind of coming out of us at this point, because everyone's so angry and everybody has a point to prove and everybody is wounded, and hurt people, don't they? So I think we missed the point completely here, and it's about not moving into another just as toxic space. It's still got the balance, have we? We still don't have the balance. We've still got a gender pay gap. We've still got a lot of patriarchal systems in there. We've now got lots of angry women that are just bitching and moaning, and it's still toxic, and it's not really where I think our ancestors hoped we would be. But I think we're getting closer, and I think we're moving into spaces where that's possible. And we can only do that by, empathy, compassion, kindness, understand for ourselves and for other people, and understanding difference, and understanding that everybody has a story, everybody has wounds, everybody is just as valid as everybody else, and needs love and care and support and needs to be heard. and whether that gives you an uncomfortable feeling in your body because you either disagree with it or it doesn't resonate with you and it's not your experience. It's you learning how to deal with your shit so that you can still show up for other people, whether you agree with them or you resonate with them or not. That's the key, and that's what I'm trying to get out there, is these tools to be able to do that, to be able to heal self and to be able to pass some stuff on. So I was kind of using the analogy of having all these labels, and all we do is have label after label after label after label. And one of the exercises that we do in the first couple of modules is doing a bit of a dump of all that, of, who are you? Scary thought, really scary thought. And it's one of the most frightening things for people when they're looking at moving out of a traumatic space, whether it's pain, chronic pain, disease, illness, psychological states. Even though you might be so uncomfortable and experiencing such an awful time of things, we tend to stay stuck in those cycles. And that's because what's on the other side is even more terrifying. The fear of the unknown keeps us from moving into these spaces. We think we have a comfort zone, but our comfort zones are just prisons that keep us locked in. It takes a lot of courage to explore beyond that. But it's essential to do that. It really is essential. So when we start to think about, well, who am I if I'm not chef, taxi driver, emotional punching bag, all of these things that I do, the cleaner and the family manager and all these things, and we complain and whinge about them because we're exhausted and burnt out, but we won't let go of them. We're not ready to quite let go of them because that's who I am. It's just the cross I have to bear, and my martyrdom, my personality, I really kind of stuck in that martyrdom, it has been for many years, of setting myself up into these spaces and doing it to myself and creating these monsters, and then getting burnt out and sick and being like, oh, it's just the cross I have to bear. It's just the way it is. It's just what I have to do. It isn't. We've all got choices at any point, and then we can choose ourselves at some point. It's taken me a lot of years to start that process. I think it'll be an ongoing process for me. It's part of my healing. You can do all those things and be a good person and help people and do things, but you can also be happy and healthy and find some peace and joy and choose yourself. But you can only do that when you know your identity, your passion and your purpose. You cannot put boundaries into place. You cannot have healthy boundaries if you don't know who you are and what lights you up and what you're here to do. You just can't. You're constantly searching for other people to put your boundaries in for you. I don't know. What label do you want me to be today? What give me a boundary. It's not boundaries, is it? It's people pleasing. It's fawn response, and it's safety-seeking behaviour that we've learned. Many, many women experience this, myself included. It's my dominant trait, is that safety-seeking behaviour. Please and appease, people pleasing, fawn response. I have to make other people happy so that I am safe, so that I am chosen, so that I am validated, so that I am loved. My needs are secondary. They're not even on the radar because everybody else is so much more important. I have to keep them all safe. I have to keep them all happy. And then maybe one day somebody out there will choose me. Ouch, right? Ooh, if that hits, it's because I'm in the right ballpark. This is resonating because it's a truth that maybe you have not acknowledged yet, not even thought about or been running from. But it catches up with you. So if out there listening, you are a woman over 40, and you are in that space now where you are starting to realise, oh shit, I did not see this coming. What am I doing? I'm in a job that I hate, or I don't have a job at all because my life has been dedicated to my family. Do I need to have a job? Is that my purpose? Am I supposed to be doing what everybody else does? Do I need to get in the rat race? What should I do? What are my friends doing? What did my parents expect me to do? What am I supposed to do next? Maybe you are in a career that you absolutely hate, but you had to do it because of financial issues or just because you got swept along and that's what the expectation was. Maybe you're in a family business. Maybe you're self-employed and you cannot handle the thought of working for somebody else or admitting that it is not what it was cracked up to be. So you keep parading all these masks out on a daily basis. Like, it's fine, everything's fine. And it's not, it really isn't. You know, the cracks start to show eventually, and they start to show in the form of ill health and disease. And pain will start to show up in different places. And fatigue will start to show up, and your body will be screaming at you, saying, why are you doing this to me? Please look at what I'm showing you. Start to choose yourself. And what do? We look for answers elsewhere. We scroll through social media. We go to our doctors. We go to other people and we ask them, how can I feel better? fix me, give me something. What do I do to feel better? I might just go and shop because it's quick dopamine hits. I might go and do something really unhealthy. I might be in really toxic, unhealthy relationships. I might just down a bottle of wine every night because at least then I can just go to sleep and just forget for a little bit. We do these behaviours and we get caught up in these patterns because we're not listening. We're just not listening. Your body, your behaviours are your barometer. They will tell you what's going on. It just sometimes feels a bit scary to listen. So hopefully a little bit of wisdom that I can pass on is some guidance on how to listen and how to respond in a slightly healthier way when you hear what your body's trying to tell you. So yeah, it's an interesting old journey, isn't it? But once you start to break through those labels and you start to understand which ones are healthy, appropriate labels, which ones are labels that people just thrown at you or you have decided to grab hold of because it makes you feel important or safe or valid. How can we go through the process of starting to weed those things out? And the program is called Weeds and Seeds. Weeds and Seeds for women over 40, to chart your course to step into your next 40 years and do something cool. And your life's not over, you know, because people think, well, that's it now, I've done my bit. That was my purpose. Now I'm just going to sit and wither away and just parade out in the masks for as long as I have left. I hope that one day somebody changes things for me. It doesn't have to be like that. You can take the power back. You can slay the beast. We use lots of analogies, lots of beast slaying analogies in this program. And we do a lot of work around shifting that mindset, and we do a lot of work around unpicking and weeding out these incredibly harmful limiting beliefs. You know, what was programmed in at an early age? What do you believe about yourself that keeps you locked into this toxic space? What keeps you in that fear space, and how can we move fear along to courage? Even if you have to get angry first, that's cool, because anger is just one step away from courage. You know, the worst thing is apathy, shame, fear. We need to break out of those spaces. And you know what? If we do that as women over 40, ready to step into our power years, we can have such an impact on everything and everyone else. You know, we can model different ways to our children and their children and their children. We can really break some cycles, and we can really do some great work just by focusing on ourselves and working on the inside stuff. So I think this is the position that we're in. We need to start finding these specific toolkits and wisdom and, you know, techniques that we can share that work in getting us out of these spaces that we found ourselves stuck in, and exploring and getting that childlike fun adventure spirit of exploring, well, what's next for me now? I have a new opportunity here. I can choose me. I can choose something different today, right now. I can completely shift my mindset and I can move into a completely different direction. And whether that's a bit scary or not, it's cool, it's fine, you're not on your own with it. You just have to do. You just have to take some action. You just have to decide. And then you never look back. And the future completely changes and looks very different to where it was 10 minutes ago, a day ago, a month ago. It really is that profound. It's that simple, yet beautifully complex because of our, you know, we're a species that has very, very strange stuff going on. So it is very simple, but it doesn't feel it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you are a woman over 40, or if you're not, if you don't fit into that group, but you have some thoughts on this, welcome. Don't be offensive, otherwise I will just get rid of you. But if you have questions or you have thoughts, please bring them to the table. I'm going to be bringing some guests in pretty soon. We're going to be talking about all things hormones, dreaded menopause, and how to move through it with grace and actually appreciate this process and look at it as a different space that we're moving into. So we'll have a little bit of work to do around that and some guests. And of course, if you want to join me on the programme, I've got loads of content for you to start that journey, start to move through. But for now, I'm going to leave you to a beautiful, peaceful day where you actually maybe, just maybe, take a second to think about yourself and what you need right now. And start to think about what lights you up. Do you know? Have you ever thought of it before? If you had a blank piece of paper, and if you had no constraints, and if there was no money worries, there was no time constraints, there was no people demanding your attention, there was no expectations put upon you, there were no judgments from anyone, just a blank piece of paper with unlimited potential, what would that look like? What would your life be? Who are you really? How does your soul express itself? Just imagine you have that. blank piece of paper in front of you. It's exactly what you do have. It's exactly what you have. You have unlimited potential. You just need to recognise that, and you just need to tap into it and move forward with grace and peace and joy that you truly deserve. So that is all I wish for you, and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're doing, lovely rest of the week. And if you'd like to join me on my Weeds and Seeds programme for women over 40, I would love, love, love to see you in there. Bye for now.